This video is brought to you by HockeyMonkey.com, your one-stop shop for the best prices on all the latest and greatest hockey gear. Be sure to use coupon code HR4U7 at checkout to receive 7% off any order. Hey guys, Josh from HockeyReviewsForYou.com, bringing you my review of the Bauer Supreme TotalOne NXG hockey stick. This is the top-end model on offer from Bauer's Supreme line, and I have to say that I have been thoroughly impressed by the overall performance of this particular stick. I wasn't expecting to like it quite as much as I did, but after several months of testing, I have to say that this is one of my personal favorite sticks of all time, and I can't wait to continue using it. So with that being said, let's get right into the review. Starting off with the overall weight and balance of the stick, I have to say that I'm extremely impressed by this aspect of the TotalOne NXG. It weighs in at an incredibly lightweight 405 grams and maintains a near perfect balance while still maintaining an incredibly solid feel in hand. Something like the Bauer Apex 2 has a very lightweight construction about it as well, but doesn't feel quite as solid in hand as something like the TotalOne NXG. So that's something that really surprised me about this stick. And again, in terms of weight and balance, I don't think you could construct a better hockey stick than this. In terms of the construction itself, it does feature Bauer's true one-piece monocomp construction, which is very common amongst all their top-end sticks. And it also features Textreme carbon fiber, which is a very high-grade quality of carbon fiber, supposedly 20% lighter than everything else out there on the market. And it definitely does show in this particular model in that it's extremely well balanced, extremely lightweight, and still feels very sturdy in hand. So for the most part, in terms of balance and weight, I can't say that I've ever used a better stick than this. In terms of the shaft itself, I have to say that the TotalOne NXG feels very unique in comparison to any other stick that I've personally ever used. It features squared corners and concave sidewalls with shaft dimensions that feel slightly larger than average, giving this a very substantial feel in hand. In terms of the corners themselves, while it is listed as squared corners, they do still have a slightly rounded feel about them, making it nice and comfortable in your hands. And I really did find that the concave sidewalls of the stick truly do allow you to get a better grip on the stick than you normally would be able to. Again, giving you that nice secure feeling in your hands when bearing down for a slap shot or a one-timer, which does seem to allow for an increase in power ever so slightly. In terms of the shaft itself, the dimensions remain fairly similar throughout the entire stick. You can see that even down going towards the taper, it really doesn't taper all that much until you get very, very close to the blade. So whether you're bearing down for a slap shot, dropping your hand, or even dropping your hand for a face-off, the feel across the entire shaft is going to be very, very uniform, which is definitely a good thing. In terms of grip options, I use the grip variation. For testing, it features Bauer's Grip Tack coating, which gives it that slightly sticky sensation. And along the corners, you're going to find a tack spiral texturing, which is actually this spiral-like coating or spiral-like texture that is actually in the paint itself. It does have a nice feel when you hold the stick in your hands, but honestly when you have gloves on it isn't quite as noticeable. And one of the downsides is that because the tack spiral texturing is in the paint itself, it does chip relatively easily because you do have that extra thick layer of paint. So it isn't something that's going to last on the lower area of the stick, but your top hand will still maintain that tack spiral texturing for the most part. And if you want something with more of a matte finish, you can go for the clear variation, which still has that tack spiral texturing, but of course does not have the grip tack coating. So for the most part, lots and lots of options here, and definitely a very unique in-hand feel. In terms of puck feel, I really enjoyed using the TotalOne NXG. To me, it's kind of that middle ground between the other two Bauer models, where the Apex model has a very kind of more forgiving, slightly softer feel about it, especially when stick handling, whereas the Nexus 1000 has a much more pingy, responsive feel about it. Like I said, the TotalOne NXG is kind of in between those two sticks when it comes to overall puck feel. Now, of course, the blade is very, very lightweight, which again plays into the whole fantastic balance of this particular stick, so it's very easy to maneuver. The thickness of the blade, as you can see, is on the thinner side, so again, it has a nice kind of profile about it that I found to be very, very easy to use. Now, as far as the construction of the blade goes, of course, it's wrapped in that Textreme carbon fiber with the large checkerboard pattern like you're going to find on all the current top-end Bauer sticks. And the interior materials is a combination of Aerofoam 2 as well as Power Core 4 foams. So you're going to get, like I said, that combination of soft feel from the Aerofoam and a more responsive feel from the Power Core foam. It's kind of that in between. It has a nice, slightly soft feel about it when stick handling and receiving passes, whereas when you shoot the puck, you still have a nice, responsive pop off of the blade, which is, at the end of the day, very, very important. As far as other features that you're going to find on the blade itself, there is, of course, that same micro texturing that, again, you're going to find on all the top-end models from Bauer. It's a very minor feature, but if you're somebody like myself that doesn't necessarily tape up the entire blade, having that slight micro texturing does help a little bit as far as getting some extra grip on the puck that you wouldn't normally have. And I also didn't have any issues with the micro texturing falling off. So as far as durability goes, you're definitely getting that from the texturing. It's not just a little gimmick that's going to go away after a few weeks of play. But other than that, like I said, really, really good stick when it comes to overall puck feel. Very natural feeling, but at the same time has tons of pop when shooting the puck, and it's just a very responsive stick overall. When it comes to shooting the puck, I have to say that I was thoroughly impressed by my overall experience with the TotalOne NXG. It features what Bauer calls an amplified mid-kick point, which means that they have intentionally stiffened the lower area of the shaft and made the middle and top hand area a little bit softer. And because of that, you get a stick that loads up very, very efficiently. Doesn't have as quick of a release, but when you really do bear down on a slap shot or a one-timer, the amount of energy transfer and pop you get from this stick is pretty tremendous and actually very surprising. Now, I'm not somebody who takes a lot of slap shots and one-timers. I'm more of a wrist shot, snapshot guy, very quick release. But something like this I found felt good on a wide variety of shots. Of course, it doesn't have as much energy transfer as a low kick point stick when taking a really quick snapshot or something like that. But again, when you bear down on a shot, the amount of energy transfer that the TotalOne NXG has to offer is pretty amazing. And I really did find myself when using the stick wanting to take more slap shots, wanting to take more one-timers, just because of the amount of velocity I was able to get on my shot in comparison to most other sticks that I've ever used. It's a very, very unique kick point that I wasn't expecting to like very much. I'm not a huge fan of mid-kick point sticks, but the performance of the TotalOne NXG really does speak for itself, and it truly does offer more power in your shot than any other stick that I've personally ever used. It never feels like the blade is opening up, and for the most part, the blade has a nice soft kind of feel when puck handling, but when shooting the puck you get a nice amount of pop off the blade as well, which is something that I was a really big fan of. And considering the lightweight balance feel, it's very, very easy to get a nice powerful swing. And again, when you bear down on the puck, you're going to get a tremendous amount of flex out of the shaft, and the energy transfer and pop once the puck leaves your blade is pretty incredible. I also found that while this is an 85 flex sticks, I didn't cut it or anything like that. It did feel ever so slightly softer, so if you prefer something with a little bit more of a stiff feel, you might want to go up in flex, but for the most part, I think that if you stay true to your normal flex point, you're going to get maximum energy transfer out of the stick, which at the end of the day is probably the best thing to do, in my opinion, if you want to get the best use out of this high-end product. So for the most part, it is more geared towards slap shots and one-timers, but I didn't find that I was losing really much at all when it came to taking quicker release shots, even though it is a mid-kick point stick. And overall, one of the most unique and one of the best shooting experiences I've ever had from a hockey stick. In terms of durability, I didn't have too much trouble with the TotalOne NXG. Like all the top-end sticks from Bauer, it does feature their Elastec technology, which is essentially a type of resin used in the construction of the stick that is supposed to help with preventing the growth of microfractures, which can occur when you get a slash to the stick or even take a shot to the stick itself. It's hard to say whether or not this actually does do anything. All I can tell you is that my stick hasn't actually broke, and it doesn't show any signs of breaking anytime soon. If I had one complaint regarding the durability, it is that the paint and the tack spiral texturing does tend to chip off the shaft pretty easily. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, the tack spiral texturing is in the paint itself, so it does make for a slightly thicker layer, and thicker paint tends to chip a little bit more easily, and you definitely will notice that there is a lot of chipping in the shaft after a couple times of using it, especially if you're going into the corners a lot, making contact with a lot of other players' sticks. Again, that tack spiral texturing on the corners is just going to chip off very easily. There's no way of preventing it. It's just something that Bauer maybe has to address. Again, it's not something that is a huge issue for me, but it's something that definitely is worth noting. Other than that, just normal wear and tear from a composite hockey stick, such as scratches and scrapes in the blade. But other than that, nothing particularly alarming when it comes to the stick actually breaking itself. So for the most part, if you're looking for something that's going to be lightweight, very solid, and for the most part pretty durable, the Bauer TotalOne NXG definitely seems to do that pretty well. Alright guys, that's it for my review of the Supreme TotalOne NXG hockey stick from Bauer. I have to say that I was incredibly impressed by this particular stick, and it is the closest thing to a near perfect product that I've personally ever had an experience with. It is extremely lightweight, it's perfectly balanced. The blade offers a really nice balance of great puck feel and tremendous pop when shooting the puck, and the amount of energy transfer you get from this amplified mid-kick point shaft is pretty tremendous and definitely noticeable in comparison to any other stick that I've personally ever used. So as of right now, this is my go-to stick, and I don't see anything else knocking it off anytime soon. So if you guys are interested in purchasing one of these for yourself, and I highly do recommend it, there is a link in the description of this video, and you can also use coupon code HR4U7 to get yourself an additional 7% off. So save yourself a bit of money if you are interested in purchasing one of these. If you have any questions regarding the TotalOne NXG, be sure to leave a comment down below. If you have any other suggestions for products you'd like to see me review, again, leave those comments down below. I'm always open to hearing what you guys want to see. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for more videos on all the latest and greatest hockey gear. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.